Tình yêu Chúa như dòng sông em trôi về nẻo xa, dòng sông đẹp hiền hòa cuốn mình băng giữa bờ cát trắng. Có bóng dừa xanh, có mây trời thanh, có chim lượn quanh líu lo trên cành. Còn con đây đang lạc lối trong muôn ngàn đớn đau, cuộc sống tràn muộn phiền như trời đêm thiếu vầng trăng sáng. Biết đến tìm ai giữa nơi bề dâu, khổ đau ngàn muôn lấp che tâm.
Is blessed Waldo. Waldo was born and lived in northern Italy in the 13th century. This story begins with a Father Bartolo, who was the teacher and friend to Waldo. And one day, Father Bartolo told Waldo that he had contracted leprosy and they had to move into a hospital so that he can be taken care of. Father Bartolo and Waldo ended up spending a total of 20 years at this hospital. And just before he died, Father Bartolo told Waldo to join the Franciscans. After the death of his friend, Waldo did join the Franciscans, and it was then that he decided that he wanted to live in a hollowed-out chestnut tree in order to become closer to God. This landing space would eventually be Waldo's home for the rest of his life. So the story goes, a hunter was out in the forest hunting with his dogs, when all of a sudden his dogs began barking and circled an empty hollow chestnut tree. When the hunter arrived, that's when he discovered the body of Waldo, who had passed away just moments before. And at the same time he made his discovery, the bells of the local church began ringing. Meanwhile, the people of the local village were confused as to who started the bells to ringing. They gathered around to discover who it was. Shortly after the bells had started ringing, the hunter and his dogs showed up to the local church. And that's when the hunter told his story about how he was out with his dogs and they discovered Waldo in the empty chestnut tree, passed away just moments before. And as he had finished his story, the bells stopped ringing. It was at that moment the people of the local village decided that definitely Waldo was a holy man. So the people of the local village returned to Waldo's chestnut tree, retrieved Waldo's body, and eventually converted the tree itself into a chapel in honor of Waldo. And so once the villagers returned back to town, they placed the body of Waldo in their high altar. It's not this altar, but I'm sure it's one just like it. But it is there that the local villages tell the stories of all the miracles that have happened since Waldo was placed under that altar. And this is the story of blessed Waldo, who spent 20 years taking care of a priest with leprosy, and then another 20 years in solitude in a hollow chestnut tree, trying to be closer to God.
Tình yêu Cha hãy đưa con thoát qua buồn đau, dẫn đưa con đến nơi đầy hoa, có thông reo chim hót nhợn nhớ vui điệu ca. Tình yêu Cha đưa bước con vào chốn thần tiên, đưa bước con về đỉnh bình